is the best way to set goals? How can we set goals in ways that would promote their achievement? What is it that makes achieving goals so hard? But why does it feel good to achieve goals at the same time? Most of all, why do some of us find it easier to achieve goals than others? Hey everybody, and welcome back to Neuroscience, the best place on YouTube to increase your neuroscience IQ. We hope you all had a Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays from everyone here at Neuroscience, and we also hope that you have a Happy New Year. With the new year approaching, the focus of today's video is a holiday special, and that is New Year's resolutions. Today we are going to be discussing some tips when it comes to setting your New Year's resolutions and reasons why we all achieve goals at different rates and in different ways. Now, back in the 1990s, two scientists by the name of Locke and Latham came up with the goal setting theory. This theory is 25 years in the making, with 400 plus studies being put into it, and all of them support the idea that setting hard, specific goals actually promotes achievement when you compare it to setting easy, abstract goals. So when it comes to setting your goals, the first step everyone should do is decide what your goal is going to be for the year and share it. So maybe you can share it with your friends, share it with somebody who's going to keep you accountable for that goal. Second, write down your goals. Now, you've probably heard this time and time again. Writing down your goal just helps solidify it. Once you put it on paper, that helps to keep it back in your subconscious. And so every action you do throughout the day is going to have that goal echoing in the back of your mind. And it promotes your achievement whether you're aware of it or not. Third, break your goal down. So even though it's been shown that setting hard goals is better than setting easy ones, you want to break it down into steps. And doing this will actually promote your motivation. Because if you take your goals step by step, it seems a little easier, and each step of the way that you achieve, you can check that off. And it's been shown that doing so will actually promote reward. So when you reach each step of your goal, rather than feeling like you're far from the end, you still get rewarded along the way. There's still a little bit of dopamine release happening every time you check something off your checklist. Step 4 is step up. Once you have your goal written down, shared with somebody, and broken down, you gotta start with step 1. Whatever that step is, once you do step 1, you can move on to step 2. And it's easier and easier once you make a habit of it. Step 5, and this is the most important step, celebrate success. This is so important because a lot of times when you set New Year's resolutions, you can lose motivation along the way. If you're not allowing yourself to feel rewarded for doing even the smallest thing in approach to achieving your goals, then you're gonna give up, whether you like it or not. Now, with those tips in mind, let's get into a little bit of the neuroscience with chasing after goals. And we're going to focus on different cognitive motivational networks that people might have. So what does this mean? This just means that when you try to achieve your goal, people are different. We're different genetically, we're different in how we look, how we act, how we feel. Every aspect of us is different from one another. And this is true for the achievement of goals as well. In fact, recent studies have shown that even in rats, there are different motivational types. Importantly, scientists have split people's motivational patterns into two groups. There are the sign trackers and the goal trackers. Now, sign trackers are people or animals that focus on signs along the way and get rewarded for those. Goal trackers are people or animals that focus on the end goal and only feel reward when they achieve the goal. So for instance, with rats, the way scientists figure out how they're motivated is by putting them in a box and running them through a pavlovian conditioning paradigm. So what this means is that a lever comes out that lever signals that there will be a food reward. So a lever comes out, the food reward drops 8 seconds later. The sign trackers will actually approach the lever and start interacting with it because they feel reward as soon as they see the lever. And this is because they are more prone to the release of dopamine. So their mesolimbic dopamine reward system is more easily activated, and just the presence of the lever in the box rewards them, so they interact with it. In fact, they might even lick or gnaw on the lever in preparation for a food reward. Goal trackers, on the other hand, don't interact with the lever at all. In fact, as soon as the lever is ejected, these rats will approach the food bin in preparation for the food, with no interaction with the lever at all. In further studies comparing the two different types of rats, it was shown that sign trackers actually have less release of acetylcholine. And later it was shown that this acetylcholine release was inhibited because the choline transporters on these individuals' neurons were less sensitive, and so less choline was transported into the cells. Choline is made into acetylcholine, and so they actually have less acetylcholine in their cells to begin with. Now, what does this matter? Acetylcholine is actually a neuromodulator, and so acetylcholine can help moderate the release of dopamine. So in sign trackers who have less release of acetylcholine, they have more release of dopamine, whereas in goal trackers, which have higher levels of acetylcholine, their dopamine release is more modulated, and so they don't receive the same feelings of reward when they see the lever. So what does this mean for us? Well, this means that some of us might be rewarded more easily. For instance, say your goal is to get fit this year. So you decide to go to the gym. Well, maybe you're like a site tracker, and as soon as you're in the gym, you feel reward. But if you are like a goal tracker, you won't feel reward until you see the weight loss, which may make it more difficult to achieve your goal at the end of the day, because it's harder to go step by step. This is why it's important to break your goal down into steps. Because if your goal is just to lose weight and you are a goal tracker, you're only going to feel reward when you actually lose the weight. If you break it down into steps, step 1, get in my car. That's a reward. Step 2, go to the gym. That's a reward. Step 3, walk on the treadmill. Reward, 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 reward. More rewards than just saying, step 1, go to the gym. Step 2, get fit. Right? So maybe you're saying, yeah, I feel reward as soon as I go to the gym. I feel reward as soon as I get in my car to go to the gym. Or maybe you are the person that only feels reward at the end when you actually see results. The problem with being a sign tracker is that studies have actually shown that they get more distracted. And this was shown in a study where rats had to complete a task in either silence or with pulses of noise going on in the background. Now, the problem with being a sign tracker is studies have shown that they actually get distracted more easily. In fact, in a study where there were 2 separate cues and rats had to complete a different task based on the cue, the goal trackers actually performed better than the sign trackers. Now, these tasks both resulted in a reward for food, but depending on the cue, they had to hit a different lever. For instance, maybe a light goes off. Once the light goes off, the rat has to click, let's say, the lever on the right. Another cue could be a tone. When the tone sounds, the rat maybe has to hit the lever on the left. Both of them result in the rat getting food if they perform the task correctly. The problem was that when the rats had a distraction stimulus, the sign trackers performed worse. Now, this could be maybe because they feel reward as soon as they interact with the lever. So the end goal isn't actually all that important to them. The goal trackers, on the other hand, completed the task the exact same when distracted compared to when they weren't distracted. Now, this is good because they're getting the end goal no matter what. This is probably because they only feel reward once they achieve the goal. So the distraction isn't really affecting them because their focus is on that final result. So at the end of the day, you can see that there are differences in all of us. And what's important is that you figure out what works for you in achieving your goals, because even down to the neuronal level, we have different networks in our brain that influence the way we think, the way we react to rewards, and the way that we are motivated. Importantly, we all have different neurotransmitter levels. We've seen that with acetylcholine and dopamine. There can be different influences on our cognitive motivational networks. So with all that being said, I just encourage you to stick to the 5 tips we gave you at the beginning. Decide your goal and share it. Write it down, solidify it, break it down into steps that you can be rewarded for along the way. Step up so that you can start achieving your goals. And finally, and most importantly, celebrate your success. So try to stick to our 5 tips as a surefire way for you to achieve your New Year's resolution. All the best on your journey into 2020. We here at Neuroscience wish you a happy new year and a very prosperous new year as well. Thanks for watching. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and share with your friends. And if you want, maybe comment your New Year's resolutions down below so that you have somebody to hold you accountable for it. Thanks again. See you next week.